For our opening words, please join me in a responsive reading. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground.
They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of waters.
This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle.
Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will.
Find out what people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice which will be imposed upon them.
The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress.
Thank you. Kat Lekich will light the chalice here in the sanctuary. Kat. Those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice now. As people of faith, we are called to a love that is bold, to love beyond our skill and through our fear, with courage and compassion. As a faithful collective, we are called to offer sanctuary, refuge, and comfort to everyone afflicted by the systems of oppression in this world. As faithful individuals, we are called to relationships of care and accountability. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the opening hymn, number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. I feel peaceful and whole right now. That was great. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We're glad you've joined us today for this UU Service Committee Justice Sunday. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous peoples historically inhabited. We honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest that connect the UU7 principles. Today's service centers around the sixth principle. We affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. My name is Andy Fagan, and I am your worship associate for this morning's service. Hi. I'd like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you wish, please raise your hand if you'd like to introduce yourself or your guest. Okay. If you're not on the mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. Members and friends, please check out What's Happening, the e-blast sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up with the latest news. And if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services, the recordings can be found on the UUC website and on Facebook. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. This is the first Sunday of the month, so now let us sing the affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help, and to help, and to help one another.
We set aside this time for brief announcements that will be of interest to our community and friends. Please be succinct when announcing upcoming events or updates to the UUCC related policies. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand. Randy or I will call your name. Please come up to the podium or unmute yourself online and then speak. Jan, I think you're up first.
Okay, I'm in begging mode again. This is a check. This is how you do it. You write it out, and you put scholarship fund in the memo line there, and then you put it in that basket. Watch, I'll show you. Voila. And we don't need that much more. We're getting so close. We need like $500 more. And a little birdie just told me that there has been a donation by a universal group or Oddfellows, yes. And we may have enough to give one whole new scholarship, another extra one. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Randy, come on up.
Good morning. Okay, every August we invite members of our community to come up here to the pulpit and read somebody else's sermon. And so I'm looking for volunteers to find a sermon, and I'll help you do that, that appeals to you, that speaks to you, and so forth, that you would like to share with the rest of us. So if you're interested in participating in one of the Sundays in August, please call me as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Dolores.
So after the service today, we're going, what? And so we're going to be doing our spiritual journeys to start the process of looking at our Article 2 that's going to be voted on and potentially changed, in June. So please stay right after, probably about get yourself some coffee and then start right after that. I want to thank these two people who have volunteered to be our designated, right? Our designated people for the what do we call that? Delegates. Thank you. Oh God, forgetting all these things now. For the delegates for our General Assembly. So totally, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dolores. Diane, come on up.
Well, we have a women's group. Just wanted to remind you, we're meeting the first Monday of every month. I'm really enjoying it. And all the people who share parts of their lives and connect, it's a wonderful way to learn more about people in a deeper way. So if you're inclined, please come and join us. Also, we have a potluck coming up this Friday. So please put it on your calendar. We're going to be meeting here in the sanctuary at 4:00, and hopefully Susan Landau will be here to reconnect with us, and she's visiting for the week.
Okay, I have a couple of announcements. There's the first one. I serve as our congregation's Unitarian Universalist Service Committee liaison, and we're having a special collection for the UUSC today. You can place cash or checks in the guest at your table boxes, which I've placed on the counter in the back, or you can scan this QR code using your smartphone camera. So for those of you who haven't done that, you open your phone, you select the camera, just like you would take a picture, and you focus on that QR code, and automatically a little yellow band comes up at the bottom of your screen. Touch that, and it will take you to the donation page of the UUSC.org website. Super easy. You did it, and it worked. We'll have the QR code up again at the end of the service. If you don't want to do it right now, you can scan it then and make your donation. Second announcement, Wednesday, April 10th, being the second Wednesday of the month, at 4 p.m., there will be an online discussion via Zoom, so you can stay at home and log in to view and then discuss a TED Talk. This week, the topic is how language shapes the way we think. Fascinating topic presented by American psychologist Lara Borodsky. We'll watch the video, it's about 20 minutes long, and then discuss this fascinating and important topic. Randy, any announcements from folks online?
No
Okay.
hands here. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks. Next week, Reverend Carrie Kiyohara from the Makawao Hangwanji Temple in Maui will present I'm a Meme. The Buddha never said that. Okay. Today, we take this time to celebrate all those who are having a birthday. Birthdays are special, a day when we celebrate your entry into this world and honor your existence. If you have a birthday this month, please raise your hand. if you're willing to admit it. And when Randy or I call on you, please reveal your special date. In the back, Dolores. April 26th. Tom. April 28th. Dueling Aprils. Anyone else? Randy, anyone online?
Yes, we have one hand. Please unmute yourself, speak.
Hi there, it's Jeff. Just saying hi. My birthday is actually on tax day this year.
Well, it looks like
and
Jeff
I'm-
has a birthday.
Yep.
Any lip readers?
Oops. Hello. I was trying to talk. I don't know. Hi. Yep. Oh well. April 15th.
Birthday. Okay, anyone else? No. This birthday candle honors all our friends and family members who are also celebrating birthdays this month. Thank you, Mary. Joys and Concerns is a time for sharing personal celebrations, sorrows, reflections, or gratitude. This is a time for community building. Please exercise brevity. This sacred moment should not be used to sermonize. Thank you. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which may have gone unspoken today, but are deeply felt in this community. Our first reading is from the UUSC.org Justice Sunday website. Today, we are celebrating the ways our UU faith calls us to be in solidarity with human rights defenders around the world. One of the many ways we do this is through our support of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. UUSC is an international human rights organization grounded in Unitarian Universalism that has been a powerful force for justice since its founding in 1940 in response to the rise of Nazism. UUSC's work is based on a partnership model that centers the experience and leadership of the people who are most impacted by injustice. This partnership model includes financial support given in the form of grants to some of the most resilient, creative, and courageous groups of people you can imagine, who are working for justice, often under very dangerous conditions. In addition, UUSC also supports and flanks their efforts in other ways. They arrange and fund convenings so people in similar struggles half a world away from each other can meet and compare strategies and learn from each other. UUSC does innovative research that bolsters partners' claims with hard data and with powerful personal stories about what they're living through. They help educate and then mobilize our members, people like us, to make us more effective advocates and activists, whether by lobbying Congress in Washington or accompanying asylum seekers in our own communities. And through the UU College of Social Justice, UUSC brings delegations to learn from our partners and sends volunteers with particular skill sets at their partners' request. If some or all of this work intrigues you, now is your chance to be a part of this vital justice movement. You can use those phones, the phone camera, to scan this QR code, which gets you to this giving screen, or go to the website, uusc.org/ways-to-give, which looks like this. We'll display it again at the end of the service to give you more time for donating. UUSC is able to do all that it does because people like you support its mission. A contribution at any level allows you to become a member of UUSC, and your support ensures that in these perilous times, with threats to human rights expanding on all sides, our response too can expand. Checks can be made out to UUSC. Please put UUSC Sunday in the memo line. Cash donations are also appreciated. You can place your checks and cash in the guest at your table boxes located at the back counter. Many, many thanks. Now, let us enter a place of peace and serenity where you are one with your spiritual being. Be at peace within your space where the absence of all that is temporal is its most cherished gift. Let us enter the stillness. We may not know or agree about what lies beyond this life, but it's our conviction that our actions and our inactions have consequences for the web of all existence. As people of faith, we are called to a love that is bold, to love beyond our skill and through our fear with courage and compassion. Our faith does not require that we be unafraid, only that we do not lead with fear or make our decisions from a place of fear. May we remember and affirm that we are all in this together, friends. We are all in this together. Amen. Those words from We Find Our Salvation Here by Reverend Deanna Vandiver. Our second reading is a collection of quotes from the UUSC Partners published in the 2023 UUSC Annual Report. UUSC partner Asociación Pop Noj from Guatemala states, "For indigenous peoples, migration is not a problem. It has always been an opportunity for an exchange between peoples, for trade, for growth, for mutual support. For indigenous peoples, Mother Earth belongs to everyone and is for everyone. Borders have been established as a product of those who have power." Anna Maria Tesfaye, co-founder of Queer Svit, says, "We want to live in a world where there's no homophobia, transphobia, racism, sexism, or other forms of discrimination LGBTQ+ and Black, Asian, and minority ethnic people face. With you, we create a world where human rights will be upheld and everyone will feel safe." From Alicia Wallace, Director of Equality Bahamas. "To the next generation of women and girls, I definitely say, be fierce. We are working toward a better world and better future, so continue in that quest and be sure to connect with other people and do it together. Because the more fierce people work together, the easier it is to push down some of these walls. the less we feel alone, and the more we're able to build a culture of community care. And finally, from Laura Randall, UUSC Director of Congregation Relations. Since 1940, UUSC has partnered with people targeted by oppressive systems, lending our strength to theirs. Then and now, when community calls out for justice, UUSC is part of the answer you have given to the world. The anthem for today is "We Are a Family," music and lyrics by our very own Jan Callner. Would our choir please come forward? The rest of you in the sanctuary are welcome to sing along.
We are a family. We belong to the world. We are a family. We belong to each other. All brothers and sisters and mothers of life. Fathers and sons and the lovers of life. We are a family. We belong to the world. We are a family. We belong to each other. Somewhere in time when the future belongs to another, the sons and the daughters discover each other, and somehow they'll remember this day and know we are a family. We belong to the world. We are a family. We belong to each other. From the smallest to the tallest, the old and the young, the strong and the weak. On the plains, in the cities, the forest across the sea, it's the same air we all breathe. All brothers and sisters and mothers of life, fathers and sons and the lovers of life. We are a family. We belong to the world. We are a family. We belong to each other.
Okay. Today's talk was recorded specifically for our congregations to view on this Justice Sunday. It's titled Belonging to One Another, UUSC and Global Solidarity, presented by UUSC President Reverend Mary Katherine Morn and UUSC Director of Justice Education Reverend Deanna Vandiver, who spoke recently at our fellow Pacific Western Region congregation, the Neighborhood UU Church in Pasadena.
At UUSC, we strive to engage in the work of human rights and justice through radical partnerships of trust. We believe and understand that connection, kinship, is a fundamental human need, and it is our only hope for advancing a vision of justice and human rights. We are not alone. We are part of one human family. We share one living planet. We belong to one another, each and all.
Our work is not to build bridges, but rather be present with each other across the lonely abyss until our faithfulness reveals the connections that already exist. Connections that have been denied and disguised by the many forms of oppression alive in our world. Call again and again, friend. Wave your ribbons of solidarity. Remind me you are there, here, until I trust that I can find my way home to you. Find my way home to us.
Thank you, Dee, for those powerful words of connection from your poem. The image of finding our way home to us. And also the reminder that too often powerful systems work to deny and disguise love and connection. As political theorist Brian Stout has written in a blog he writes called Building Belonging, he says, all domination systems, whether we call them white supremacy, patriarchy, colonialism, extractive capitalism, all domination systems depend on three things to maintain their power: disconnecting us from ourselves and our bodies, disconnecting us from each other and our communities, and disconnecting us from the land and the other beings that inhabit the land with us. Domination systems use these tools to deny and disguise our true connections and create a sense, in that sense of disconnection, create in us our own belief that we are powerless. And friends, when we are disconnected, we are powerless. When we forget our connections, abandon the possibility of another world, when we fall into cynicism and despair, we are playing into the hands of people who would hoard power. Our perception of powerlessness is exactly what empire is depending upon to maintain its violent extractive hold on us and on our planet.
Thank you. The Reverend Mel Hoover reminds us in the collection, Been in the Storm So Long, we can dare to face ourselves in our entirety, to understand our pain, to feel the tears, to listen to our frustration and confusion, and to discover new capacities and capabilities that will empower and transform us. And UUSC's mission affirms the dignity, worth, and power of all people. You heard the third, and power of all people. And it is this clarity about the worth and dignity and power of all people that makes it irresistible to act as if another world is possible. This analysis of power, practicing power with each other, resisting power over each other, grounds our work firmly in the liberatory practice of solidarity. Solidarity is a word that's used often, and I'll take a moment to give us a little grounding in it. Solidarity, where we acknowledge our own power and agency and connected struggles. It invites us to practice liberation, liberatory love, grounded in our breath, in our connection with each other, practicing as a lineage, as a collective, planting the future with our current actions. In solidarity, we learn to wonder, how is my well-being bound up with yours? In solidarity, we ask, what can we do to make our mutual well-being possible?
UUSC partners invite, understand, and practice solidarity. They embrace connection and kinship. And they consistently and stubbornly claim their power and reject the notion that there is little we can do. One of my favorite examples of this comes from our partner Pacific Climate Warriors, indigenous people in whose homes and livelihoods and identities are at tremendous risk due to climate change. Some of them are in immediate danger from rising water, but make no mistake, as they repeatedly affirm, we are not drowning, we are fighting. They are not drowning, they are fighting. Some among them, a cadre of young adults associated with the Pacific Climate Warriors, found themselves together in a law school at the University of the South Pacific. 27 young adults from multiple nations across the South Pacific studying in a law school together were given the assignment to imagine the most progressive and ambitious climate change action they could take within a legal arena. And so they researched previous actions, international actions and campaigns, and decided that the United Nations General Assembly should direct the International Court of Justice to create an advisory opinion. I'll back up. The Pacific law students wanted to ask the United Nations General Assembly to instruct the Court of Justice to issue an advisory opinion on the human rights impacts of climate change. A statement, an understanding, accountability framework that does not exist. They took their proposal to the Pacific Island Forum and essentially got a nod and a congratulations. I don't know, maybe an A. But this was not an idle exercise for them. They wanted nothing less, these 27 young adults from the small nations of the South Pacific, wanted nothing less than a United Nations vote calling the court to issue this opinion. So they formed Pacific Island Students Fighting Climate Change, and UUSC is grateful and proud to have been one of the Pacific Island students' first funders. Solomon and Vishal, Pacific Island student campaign directors, told UUSC's board in October of 2022 in Boston that it was funding from UUSC that made it possible for them to attend the International Climate Conference, the Conference of Partners, COP, in 21 in Scotland. And at that meeting, they were able to make connections with large international groups like Amnesty International and Greenpeace, which really, they said, was what made their campaign possible, made it possible for them to carry their campaign forward. UUSC has also had the privilege of providing various kinds of support, including it's not infrequent that I'm asked to sign a letter to provide credentials for the students to attend gatherings of the United Nations. We also were able, through one of our supporters, to provide them housing in New York City during the height of their work on the campaign. And it just is such a great example of the way being a small organization and being able to move quickly and do things in an agile way is one of our superpowers, we think. With the sponsorship of the nation of Vanuatu, the students indeed took their proposal to the world, and ultimately, from October, actually, in 2022 to the next spring, gathered the support of 120 nations, almost 2/3 of the member nations of the United Nations. And on March 29th, last March, the United Nations General Assembly adopted by consensus the resolution imagined in that distant law school classroom by 27 activists who knew that they have dignity and worth and power. Solomon and Vishal and UUSC's Director of Advocacy were together that day in the General Assembly Hall as the vote was taken. And that afternoon, we got a message from Salote describing their tears of joy. I think even they weren't sure that this would ever happen. Their tears of joy and gratitude and the vision they have, the hope that that action brought them for their children and for ours. In the spring, our College of Social Justice will be leading the intergenerational spring seminar at the United Nations, and we'll be exploring with UUSC partners how we can support the ongoing work necessary to carry forward the Pacific Island students' vision.
Thank you. That will be at the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, and other partners may be there as well. I first read the report, One Story, a report of the First Peoples Convening on Climate Force Displacement, when I was a member of the design team for Beloved Conversations Within. Perhaps some of you all have participated in that racial justice program offered by FAS Collaborative. And that's how I learned that in 2018, 20 years ago, UUSC co-sponsored and co-convened the gathering of Indigenous representatives from the U.S. states of Alaska, Louisiana, and Washington, as well as Bangladesh and Pacific Island nations. Imagine this convening, if you will, from around the world facing climate change right at the very front line of it. They met for 3 days and shared how climate change was very rapidly impacting their communities, their traditional ways of life, and they began to develop a collective vision for the future. And out of this came a declaration which includes, "We express our solidarity and the truth we are confronting as First Peoples and Indigenous peoples living in the areas most vulnerable to the impacts of climate crisis, including being forcefully displaced from our land. We maintain the unbreakable human and sacred spiritual connection with our land, air, water, forest, sea ice, plants, animals, and our communities handed down to us from our ancestors." And y'all, that convening committed to remain connected as First Peoples and Indigenous peoples that are affected by the climate crisis, with the goal of accelerating our progress to realizing our adaptation strategies. They are not drowning, they are fighting. And USC has accompanied them on this fight, and all that organizing, all that dreaming, all this trying to, where are the levers of power, right? Is it the UN? Is it the International Court? It turns out in this case, it is the Inter-American Council on Human Rights. Get ready, for economic, social, cultural, and environmental rights. And that special rapporteur, after so much collaborating, said, we will come and we will visit with the indigenous peoples in Louisiana and Alaska. And apparently it usually takes 2 years at least for something like that to happen once they decide they're going to come. But with UUSC's nimbleness available to accompany and convene, it just took a couple of months. It was an intense couple of months, not gonna lie. But they got there, and finally, the special rapporteur made the conclusion there is an urgent need to act to protect the lives and cultures of the frontline communities facing climate change in Louisiana and Alaska, finally offering a long-awaited global recognition and an international pressure point. As Elder Rosina of Grand Bayou, Louisiana said so powerfully, as small communities, we were isolated. In solidarity, we have a bigger voice and a stronger presence. They are not drowning, they are fighting.
These are just two stories that our amazing partners around the world, of the work that our amazing partners are doing with ours and your solidarity and support. Among our other work, just mention one, you may be aware that we have partners struggling for justice and accountability in Burma, also known as Myanmar. Our work with partners there actually helped to facilitate the United States' acknowledgement of the genocide against the Rohingya people. In solidarity, we strive to bear witness to the brutal violation of human rights around the globe. Which means that sometimes, even when we do not have partners in the midst of a crisis, we are called to solidarity. This happened just this past fall, as we joined human rights organizations in condemning the Hamas violence of October 7th and the horrific response of the Israeli government. We provided an early grant from our emergency response fund to support a trusted organizational ally who was doing humanitarian work in that moment in Gaza. And we continue to work with the funder community to direct resources to Palestinians and support our global partners in their demands for a ceasefire, for honoring the rights, human rights of every person, for resisting the lies of supremacy and disconnection and powerlessness.
Lucas Johnson, community organizing as spiritual practice, reminds us we have a responsibility to hold to the power of love that we know to be true. And here's the hard part. And to not allow the world around us to deaden that in ourselves. Resisting the lies of disconnection and powerlessness is faithful and necessary work. We cannot consent to being distantly devastated, dear ones. Being love, holding to the power of love that we know to be true, this is a holy through line for Unitarian Universalists. UUSC has been resisting fascism since 1940. It's a beautiful button as well, and it's a truly frightening statement. UUSC has been being love in solidarity with the worth and dignity and power of all people. As the Reverend Ella Kimler fiercely reminds us, love is the answer. And I don't mean the feeling of love, I mean the force of love. I mean love is power. I mean, love which insists that we all belong to one another.
So many of the systems that organize our shared life, politically, economically, and socially, are powered by domination and supremacy. Racism, patriarchy, extractive capitalism, they're tools of empire, of alienation and oppression. This we know. And we can resist these systems. Our resistance can take the form of organizing, supporting human rights work by joining UUSC, learning about racist systems and committing to the work of anti-racism, working for peace, accompanying people seeking asylum, and accompanying internally displaced people who are trans and gender expansive by providing a safe place to sleep. Around the world, with your support, UUSC works with partners to challenge systems, to resist systems that deny our connection and kinship and reject the worth of people based on their identities. In rejecting the idea that there is no other way and little we can do, feminist activists in Poland, the Pacific Island students, grassroots groups in Burma and nearby refugee camps, feminist farmers in Nicaragua, land and water defenders in Honduras, and many others are showing us and leading us toward another world.
At a fascism resistance training last week, because here we are again, someone said we need a global liberation party. And y'all, even though I have a poli-sci degree, my first imagination was of a global celebration, complete with disco balls and streamers, celebrating our collective liberation. And then I caught on to the context, it was about a political party, but there for a minute, the joy was real. And I want to give thanks that joy does not wait for the struggle to be over, that joy can accompany us through facing ourselves in our entirety and turning with hope and curiosity towards our own faithful liberatory practices, resisting the lies of disconnection and powerlessness, holding one another in the midst of unthinkable sorrow, breathing in and out, in solidarity with each other, remembering our connections, our collective dignity, worth, and power. Friends, we are not drowning, we are fighting. In solidarity, we have a bigger voice and a stronger presence. Thank you for joining in solidarity with UUSC, the UU College of Social Justice, and all the grassroots partners who consistently and stubbornly claim their power and reject the notion that there is little that we can do. May we continue to find the courage together to practice liberation again and again with a love which insists that we all belong to one another. And so it is.
The morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember, we are a self-sustaining congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We're going to pass the basket. That's for this congregation's fundraising. I know we're asking about scholarships and UUSC and our regular Sunday plate, but if you do have something for UUSC, please either do it digitally or place that into the boxes at the back. Today's collection is for our congregation's purposes. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you're viewing this service online, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. our thanks for all the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the closing hymn, number 368, Now Let Us Sing.
You'll see there's two parts up there. There's a low part and a high part. So you get to sing one or the other. We're gonna do this. Okay?
Don't try to sing both.
Don't try to sing both at the same time. It won't work. So either look at the line with the treble clef or the one with the bass clef. Or yeah. Anyway, okay. Go ahead.
Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing to the power of the hope within. Sing to the power of the hope within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the hope within. Sorry. Now let us sing to the power of the love within. Sing to the power of the love within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within. Sing to the power of the joy within. Sing to the power of the joy within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the joy within.
As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite the valediction. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. Now let's form a circle and join hands. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greatest usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes the harvest and the playtime. May it be so.